All right, let's dive into a pretty wild idea today. What if the real key to speaking English fluently wasn't about studying more grammar, but, well, what if it was about studying no grammar at all? I know, it sounds totally backwards, but we're going to explore a path to confident speaking that pretty much throws out the entire rulebook. So, does this sound like you? You have spent years, maybe, memorizing verb tenses, sentence structures, all of it. You could probably get an A plus on any grammar test they throw at you. But then, the moment you have to have a real, actual conversation, you just freeze up. You are so not alone. This is maybe one of the most common frustrations for English learners, and we're about to figure out exactly why it happens. You know, this whole experience actually has a name. We call it the grammar trap. It's this weird paradox where focusing way too hard on the rules of the language can actually become the very thing that stops you from speaking it. So instead of grammar being a helpful map, it becomes more like a cage. And this is exactly what's happening inside our heads when we're in that trap. We're trying to talk, but our brain is doing all these mental gymnastics. It's translating from our native language, it's checking all the rules, and most of all, it's terrified of making a mistake. This is what makes our speech sound so slow and kind of robotic. While we're busy trying to remember some obscure grammar rule, we miss the entire point of the conversation, which is just simple human connection. And this is the end result, isn't it? Speaking English starts to feel less like you're expressing yourself and more like you're trying to navigate a prison of rules. Every single thought has to be checked and double-checked before you say it out loud. It's just exhausting, and it totally sucks all the joy out of having a conversation. But what if there was a way to escape? Well, that escape route is what we're going to call the intuitive shift. It's a completely different way of thinking about learning, where we move away from analyzing rules and start, just acquiring the language naturally. So you can see we've really got two paths here. On one side, you have that traditional method we all know, that conscious effort of studying rules and memorizing charts. But on the other side, there's something totally different. It's not about memorization at all. It's about subconsciously picking up on patterns through immersion. It's really the difference between studying a language and just letting it become a part of you. And the core idea here is something called language acquisition. Just think about it for a second. You didn't learn to speak your first language by reading grammar books as a toddler, right? Of course not. You learned by being completely surrounded by it, by listening, and by connecting words to what they mean in the real world. Your brain is literally wired for this exact process, and we can tap right back into it. This brings us to, really, the most powerful language learner on the face of the earth, a child. The secret is to tap into that same incredible language learning machine that we all have, the human brain in its natural, intuitive state. Seriously, just let that question sink in. Kids become fluent speakers of incredibly complex languages before they even know what a verb or a noun is. They don't analyze the language, they absorb it. They don't fear making mistakes, they make tons of them, get corrected just by hearing how other people talk, and they just keep going. Their secret isn't some kind of magic, it's a process. And this is that process broken down. It all starts with just listening, not listening to analyze, just hearing the language. Pretty soon you start to understand what things mean from the context, not from looking them up in a dictionary. Then your brain, which is an amazing pattern recognition machine, just quietly starts connecting all the dots for you. And before you know it, you're not translating in your head anymore. You're just speaking, using the natural patterns you've picked up. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it as adults? Let's get really practical here and talk about how you can apply this intuitive method to your own English learning, like starting today. This is your new study plan, and I'm gonna bet it's a lot more fun than your old one. The key here is immersion in English that you actually enjoy. So when you watch a movie, maybe turn off the subtitles in your own language and just try to follow the story. When you listen to a song, focus on the feeling it gives you, not the definition of every single word. The goal is to forget your studying and just get lost in the message. This simple idea right here is the entire mindset shift. Stop thinking of yourself as a student of English. Instead, you're just living with it. You're inviting it into your daily life through things you already love to do. This is the immersion that lets your brain do what it does best, absorb patterns, and learn without you even trying. So, as we start to wrap this up, let's redefine what this journey is really all about. It's not about passing a test or reaching some kind of abstract, perfect level. It's about fundamentally changing your entire relationship with the English language. This really gets to the heart of everything.
The goal isn't perfection, it's connection. I mean, the whole reason we learn languages is to connect with other people, to share ideas. A few grammar mistakes are never going to stop that from happening, but the fear of making them, oh yeah, that absolutely will.
So the final message here is pretty simple. Trust the process. Your brain is already an expert at learning languages. It did it once with your native language, after all. Your only job now is to feed it the right input through immersion and then just get out of its way and let it work. And we'll just end with this one thought. For all the time and energy you've spent worrying about the rules, what if they were never the key in the first place? What if they were actually the lock on the door? I invite you to just try a new approach. Put down the grammar book, turn on a movie, and just listen. You might be really surprised at what happens next.